Okay, so you've poured months, maybe even years into your research. Now what? You've hit the hardest part, figuring out where to publish it. Well, this is your unofficial guide to those unwritten rules. That invisible hierarchy that can literally make or break your career. We're going to make sure you get it right. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to map out the whole publishing pecking order. Then, I'm giving you 6 key signals to spot a quality journal from a mile away. After that, we'll dive into the different tiers of journals, walk through a super practical pre-submission checklist, and wrap up with some real, unfiltered advice, the kind you usually only get from a mentor behind closed doors. All right, let's jump into section 1, the publishing pecking order. Look, before you can even think about winning the publishing game, you've got to understand the playing field. And this isn't just some ego trip about prestige. It's about making sure your hard work actually gets seen by the right people and makes the splash it's supposed to. Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's about that invisible hierarchy that decides whether you're celebrating with champagne or getting that soul-crushing, polite rejection email. And let's be real, this system has massive consequences for your funding, for your job prospects, for your entire career. It's working behind the scenes every single time you click submit. And this really gets to the heart of it. The reality is not all journals are created equal. It's a stratified system, whether we like it or not. You've got these layers, right? At the very top are the heavy hitters that carry just immense weight. Then in the middle, you've got a ton of really solid, respected, often specialized journals. But then there's the bottom layer. And publishing there can actually do more harm than good. Your number one job is to know which is which. Okay, so how in the world do you tell them apart? Well, it's not about just getting a vibe or guessing. It's about looking for clear, objective signals. Think of this next section as your personal toolkit for decoding this whole hierarchy like an absolute pro. Right. These 6 signals you see here, these are the exact things that hiring committees, grant panels, and even your own supervisors are looking at, even if they don't say it out loud. If you can master these 6 things, you'll be able to size up any journal with total confidence. So let's break them down, one by one. All right, first up, selectivity. Just look at these numbers. A top-tier journal, they might only accept something like 5% of what gets submitted. But here's the key takeaway. A super low acceptance rate isn't the only sign of quality, but a really high one, say 30% or more, that should be an immediate red flag. It should make you stop and ask, wait, why is it so easy to get in? Next up, the rigor of the peer review. And this comparison says it all. On one side, you've got the gold standard, right? A tough, double-blind review process. That means you don't know who the reviewers are, they don't know who you are, and you get these really deep, thoughtful critiques. And on the other side, total red flags. I mean, if you get a review back in 5 days that just says, looks good, with a thumbs up emoji, you should probably run in the other direction. Okay, let's talk about impact and citations. You're going to hear all these buzzwords thrown around. Impact factor, site score, H-index. And what they're all trying to do is measure basically how often articles in that journal get cited. And look, those numbers can be useful, but here's the deal. Context is everything. Especially in fields like law or the humanities, the journal's long-standing reputation can mean way, way more than some raw number. Signal number 4 is all about who's backing the journal, who's the publisher. Because prestige, well, it tends to stick together. You want to look for the big names, university presses, major academic publishers like Oxford University Press or Springer, and of course the main journals from the big scholarly societies. And a huge word of warning here. Predatory publishers are notorious for creating names that sound like these reputable ones, just to trick you, so be careful. Now this is a simple test, but it is so powerful. It's the editorial board test. Just go to the journal's website and look up who's on the board. Do you recognize anybody? Are these people active, respected scholars in your little corner of the universe? Seriously, if you're an expert in your field and you look at that list and think, I have no idea who any of these people are, that is a massive red flag. And our final signal, indexing. And honestly, this one is pretty much non-negotiable. For a journal to really count when it comes to things like hiring or grants, it has to be indexed in a major, reputable database. We're talking Web of Science, Scopus, that kind of thing. If a journal isn't in one of those, then for all practical purposes, it might as well be invisible to the academic world. Okay, so we've got our 6 signals. Now let's put it all together and see how they create this unofficial but very real tier system in the world of academic publishing. This table pretty much breaks it all down for you. You've got Tier 1 at the top. These are the absolute elite, the journals that define a field and can literally launch a career. Then you have Tier 2, which is where most really excellent, solid research ends up. Getting published here is fantastic for your tenure file. Tier 3 is solid too. It's often for competent, more specialized work that has a smaller niche audience. And then, well, then you have Tier 4. And let's be crystal clear about Tier 4. We're talking about the weak or even predatory journals. I can't stress this enough. Publishing here is worse than not publishing at all. Especially for an early career researcher, a line on your CV from one of these journals isn't an asset. It's a liability. It can actually damage your reputation. Okay, so now you get the theory. You understand the different tiers, so what do you do with this information? Well, let's turn it into a practical, actionable checklist that you can pull out every single time you're thinking about where to send that manuscript. But before we dive into that checklist, just one really important point. Context is everything. Every academic field has its own weird culture and its own rules. Like we mentioned before, in the legal world, a top student-run law review can actually carry more weight than a journal with a high impact factor. So the bottom line is, you have to know the specific norms of your field. And here it is, your 5-question pre-submission checklist. Just ask yourself these things. 1. Is it recognized by the experts you actually look up to? 2. Is it indexed in the right places? 3. Are articles from the last few years actually getting cited by other scholars? 4. Does their review process sound legitimately rigorous? And finally, number 5, which is probably the most important question of all, which leads us perfectly into our final section. Let's call this the mentor's advice part of our talk today. We're going to cover a few hard truths that will really help you think strategically about your publishing career, not just for this one paper, but for the long haul. Hard truth number 1. One strong publication is worth so much more than 5 weak ones. Always. I promise you, hiring committees are not just counting the lines on your CV, they are weighing them. The quality and prestige of where you publish matters infinitely more than the raw number. A single paper in a Tier 1 or 2 journal can be an absolute game changer for your career. Hard truth number 2, the journal you choose isn't just about your topic, it's a signal of your ambition. Think about it. It tells everyone in your field about your standards. It shows them how confident you are in your own work. It's you planting a flag and saying, this is where I believe my research belongs in the conversation. And hard truth number 3, and please, please burn this into your brain. Peer-reviewed is the bare minimum. It is not a badge of honor. In today's publishing world, almost anything can get peer-reviewed. The real question is, how tough was that review? And who did the reviewing? That's what separates a basic, competent journal from a truly prestigious one. And that brings us to the ultimate test, the final gut check. Forget all the metrics, all the checklists for just a second. It all boils down to this one simple question you have to ask yourself. Would you be proud, or would you be a little embarrassed to list this journal on your CV? If the answer isn't an immediate, resounding proud, you really need to stop and think twice before you hit that submit button. Because at the end of the day, your CV tells your professional story. Make sure it's a story you are truly proud to tell.